Hello, friends, and welcome to the Handyman Success Podcast. Our mission is to teach and inspire by sharing the stories and insights of our guests. Whether you're a prospective, new, or seasoned handyman business owner, you will learn practical business tips you can apply today and be inspired that you can reach your goals and create a better tomorrow. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Call, owner of Handyman Marketing Pros. We equip small, family-owned handyman businesses with modern websites and SEO to help grow their businesses online. I'm joined by my co-host, Alan Lee, who has built his handyman business to a point where it runs without him. He now teaches others, step by step, how to do the same thing through his Handyman Journey business coaching. You can learn more about our marketing and coaching services by scheduling a call with us on handymansuccess.net. So whether you're patching drywall, sitting in the office, or making your third run to Home Depot, we invite you to pull up a chair and sit with us on another episode of the Handyman Success Podcast.
I think you're spot on, Daniel, with a lot of your commercial thought. And that's something that's really our focus here in 2025 is focusing on commercial work and how we can get more of that. Currently, we're probably 85% of our work is residential and the rest would be commercial. We're trying to ramp that up quite a bit. And I think just like you said, when you have slow times in the residential world, the economy, a little bit bad and things like that, it doesn't necessarily affect the commercial world as quickly or as heavily because they still have businesses that need to be run. They still have things that need to be done. And if you think about it, when you're driving down the road, you see a tattoo parlor, you see a hair salon, you see a McDonald's. Every building needs a handyman. If you think of that, everything, right? This building that I'm in right now needs a handyman. Just like the house that Jason's in needs a handyman. Everyone needs a handyman. So if we could target these people, like not just hope that they call us, but if we could target them, that's the key. And one thing that we've really done, we put a video out there a couple months ago, is we created a folder specifically for commercial clients. And it's a high class folder with our W-9, our certificate of insurance, everything that a commercial client would need. And we actually create a list, and we actually create we're creating a business, basically a position in our company called the business development specialist, where this is their job. Create a route, go visit these specific commercial clients, give them folders, and follow up with them every single month with the thought that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Like you're following up with them every month. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. Remember we brought you that awesome folder, right? On Valentine's Day, right? We went to our clients and we gave them flowers, right? Like these little things, these little touches show them that you're here, you're ready to work, and you really care about them. And that's the whole thought that's how we're currently going after it, is creating this business development specialist ideal. And that's actually going to be me here soon. I'm going to be fulfilling that until we hire someone full-time to do that role. But this would also be someone that goes to the Chamber of Commerce meetings, goes around, and the way that we've started, because it's kind of overwhelming when you think of, okay, every business needs a handyman. So where do I even start? Do I just start walking down the street, passing out these folders? Well, we've been getting, just by happenstance, we've been getting a lot of veterinarian clinics calling us. And so I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So I started there. I looked at vet clinics, and I'm surprised how many vet clinics there are just in our town. It's insane. There's probably at least 50, around me. And so just been targeting these people. I still haven't gotten to all of them, right? And then create a list of these people, follow up with them. And we've been getting commercial clients that have been hiring us for all day, 2 technicians all day. They've been hiring us, multiple times in a month. It's just like really, really cool. So I think that you're spot on, Daniel. The way to go about it is to definitely focus on commercial, but I don't think commercial should be 100%, what you're doing until you've become established. Because I think one problem with property managers that has been an issue in the past is oftentimes they'll get you on kind of their own service contract, whatever it is. So they call you up and they're like, hey, I got this job and I have approval to do it, $300 to do it. and you can't go over that, right? So they're basically telling you what you're going to charge on that job. And oftentimes it's way low. Like I remember I had a property manager. I'm like, okay, send me over your price list. They sent me, they said, we're only approved to do $100 to replace a fence post. I'm like, $100 to replace a fence post? Like you got to chip out all the concrete,
Right.
even supply the materials. Like that's
Right.
insane. So you gotta watch what you do and how you do it. So I think definitely getting yourself established. Residential clients are a lot easier to find. It's a lot easier to make the money, but the commercial is going to have that monthly kind of reoccurring revenue as you build it up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. And I think for again, just coming to the end of year one, um, it's 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 daunting. It's scary. Like, okay, I'm gonna create estimates. I'm gonna return phone calls. I'm gonna actually go and do these jobs. Oh, by the way, I got to buy the material, and then I'm gonna go visit these cold call these places with my information, hoping they'll give me work. That doesn't actually pay the bills, right? Um,
Mhm.
but I think can I do one a week, right? Can I
Right.
go to one property manager this week, or can I go to one business this week? I think for those getting into it, like we call it backwards mapping, right? Like, hey, the end of the year, I want to hit, get on Google and search what is the you want to do apartment complexes or whatever it is. It's like, okay, this year I want to get to 50 of those, at least let them know who we are. If it's 50 and there's 52 weeks in the year, okay, how many do I need to do a week? Right? And break it down that way so that it doesn't feel, again, knowing your numbers, right? This is another way of knowing your numbers. So it doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is another thing I got to try to figure out how to do while still trying to make money and pay the bills. So just a
Mhm.
word of encouragement to those trying to figure that out. Like, yeah, and I give it time, give it time. It's again, I'm not even done with year one here. So I know I'm speaking to the choir to many of you, but yeah, give it time for it to continue to flourish.
And
Mhm.
I think there's a distinct difference too between property managers, realtors, and then commercial, like the doctors, vets offices.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I'd love to ask, like, firstly, Alan, how would you describe like what is your best commercial client experience so far? And then I also like to hear from Daniel with your upcoming, like you want to focus on more of these commercial accounts. Like, what is your plan to get those jobs? So I first toss it to Alan. Like, where do people start with? When it comes to commercial, what have you found? You mentioned vet clinics. What do you
Mhm.
think these ideal commercial clients look like?
Yeah. So for me personally, I agree with you that there's a big difference between property managers and commercial clients. I think we've I used to work for property managers back when I was solo, and they kind of gave me that price list of, hey, we're only going to pay you $100 for a fence post, and I'm like, yeah, that it's not worth it, and so I've had this client she probably hired me first in 2017, so back when I first started, and she is the administrative assistant for this doctor's office, and they have I think 5 different locations all around town. And she's been hired. And I remember when she first called me, we all have that kind of imposter syndrome and be like, I want to help this person out. I hope I could do a good job. They could be a really good client, so I want to give them a really good deal. So I always gave her like a really good deal, right? So much so that I probably wasn't making very much money. And then last winter, like, so this went on for years, right? Of me giving her a good deal. And she kept calling us because, we have a great relationship. Well, last winter, she called me up and she's like, I got this and this and this and this and this. And it was all like all over the place. And I was like jotting notes and trying to, I'm like, I was feeling overwhelmed by just the mass amount of stuff she had. So I'm like, Laura, how about if we just did a daily rate for you, you know, and I'll charge you X amount and we'll just come out for a day and you just have us do whatever. And I thought she was gonna be blown away by this number because it was our full like 8 hour of what we charge for 8 hours. And she's
What
like,
is that
really?
number?
It's $1,400 for us. And she's like, really? Like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I'm thinking, I'm like, really? Like, you're okay with that? But I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I sell her a day and she hires us for like many more days, like that winter, and just like almost filled up our whole winter. And then So every time a commercial client would call us, I just started off with this. Hey, this is what we typically do for commercial clients. We just do a day rate. We charge you X amount. We come out and do whatever. And the cool thing about that is $1,400 is our day rate, right? 8 hours. We charge $175 an hour. Those of you that did the math. But on any typical day, say we go out and we do two people's jobs, right? We like to figure that we're only about 80% efficient. So really on any 8-hour given day, we only get about 6 hours worth of build work done because you're driving, you're going Home Depot, things like that. So on any like given day, we're only making $1,000 to $1,200 a day, right, in labor. But if we could be at one location making $1,400 for that whole day, man, that's a whole heck of a lot more profitable than sending a guy all around town, wasting gas, stopping at Home Depot, picking up multiple, things from multiple jobs. And it's been fantastic. So I kind of had this renewed mindset of like these commercial clients. And for one, I want to caveat and recommend that people do not do this for residential clients. Because if you tell a residential client your hourly rate, they're gonna, it's not gonna be good, right? We've tried that before. We've tried charging by the hour. It does not work. Residential clients, they watch that clock.
Alan,
I've been told
Alan, I remember, sorry to interrupt, but I remember putting my numbers in to the spreadsheet, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, this is what our hourly fee needs to be. And I think this was, well, almost a year ago. So it was probably, I think it was 110, I think. Right now my target is 120 an hour. For Fresno, that's pretty good. Anyways, and my wife was like, what do you mean you're going to charge people that? Like, she was freaking
you can't
out.
charge that.
Oh, my wife is all about like, looking out for her neighbor and people. She's such a beautiful heart my wife has for others. Anyway, she's like, how in the world are you? This is insane. What, you didn't tell me you were going to be doing this. I'm like, hey, hold on. Okay, let's talk about this. And it's like, when I go to the office and flush the toilet, who's paying for that water bill? Right. When I go to the office and turn on the lights, who's paying for that water or the light bill? Right. And I went down the list of what it was like when I was going to the office and who was covering those costs. And then the light bulb went off for her. She's like, oh, yeah, we have to pay costs now. Right. And it's like, yeah. So she was like, okay, that's a pretty good price,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
for sure.
I mean, on the business side, as the business owner, yeah, we have to know those numbers. But yeah, never really being fully transparent and not in a conniving way. It's just to your point, Alan, people just like my wife, when they hear that, they're like, what? I have an apprentice I'm slowly bringing on under my wing. And I've told him, like, it's not all money in my pocket. Like, it doesn't just go into Daniel's pocket and like, I'm making all this money. Like, no, you need to understand what overhead is. Like, oh, yeah, that stuff's got to be paid for. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see why you're doing that. Right. So yeah, it's a shell shock for most folks until they understand the layers of running a business.
Yeah, and for sure.
I just want to also, echo what you're sharing about commercial. Recently, it's a medical center here in Fresno. Their operations office is in the Bay Area, so north of Fresno, about 4 hours in San Francisco. And they were sending a guy twice a month to come do the maintenance at the building.
Wow.
Yeah. And honestly, I need to reach out to that. His name was Tom. I need to reach out to Tom to find out how he ever found out about us. I really never asked, but he cold called me one day and he's like, hey, we're sending a guy twice a month down to Fresno to service this building, just the ins and outs, make sure everything's in order, fix what needs to be fixed. But we want to try something different. And we're looking for somebody local that can fulfill this request. And so they just did a beta test. So they're still doing their analysis now, but it was a 6-month run. They said, let's do a contract for 6 months, write us up a contract for 6 months. And I see it was 2 days out of the month. So twice a month I would go, not quite at Alan's numbers. Yeah, I'll get there, Alan. But it was $1,500. And totally to your point, for $750 a day, I was at one site. I got also new clients out of that because now I'm befriending all their staff.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
They're telling me about things that are going on. Oh, by the way, I need a gate fixed at my house. Do you fix gates? Yes, absolutely. We do. Here's my card, right? But I echo that. And then again, that was just another one of those experiences where I'm like, there's a lot of potential here for the business owner or whoever's overseeing that site. It is more cost efficient for them to sub out 1 day a month than to have somebody on the payroll for 40 hours or 32 hours, whatever they decide to do. Because now they're looking at, adding to their workers' comp. Now they're looking at Social Security, all these added costs where they're like, I don't need maintenance done every day. But if I can get somebody in here once a month, twice a month, to make sure the toilets are flushing properly, the lights are all working, ceiling tiles look good. These are just very basic repairs, I think, in my experience, that have been needed. Um, that is way more, it's a win-win, right? And that's one of the basic rules of business. If it could be a win-win-win for your client, they're getting a quality service at a good price, and it's also good for you as a business. That's a great partnership. And so, yeah, absolutely, you're onto something there, Alan.
Yeah, I got recently I got a call from a, a manager of a pretty high-end restaurant that's local. And he called me over and he was telling me as we were kind of walking through the restaurant, which I'm like, I've never been in this restaurant. I can't afford this restaurant, you know? So I'm like, wow, this is crazy. You get kind of that shell shock. And he was telling me as he went through, he's like, yeah, I do all this stuff myself. I've never hired a handyman, and I've been the general manager here for 15 years. I've never hired a handyman. This is the first time. I really don't know how it works. And I've always just stayed late or came early and did this work. But then I started realizing that like I'm only getting paid X amount, like, but I'm like bending over backwards, like doing all this work when the company sets aside money for maintenance every month.
Right, right.
So he's like, so I give him the price and he's like, he literally told me, that's not my money. Sounds great. Let's do it. And so
Yeah.
it's a completely different mindset when you're talking to commercial clients than residential clients because it is their money. Every single second if you're charging by the hour, every single second you're there is worth X amount. So that's why I always say don't charge by the hour, charge by the job for residential. It's a little bit of a different ballgame for commercial. But Daniel, I'd love to hear like your goal of how you're looking to grow more into this commercial business going more into 2025. What's that look like for you in 5D?
Yeah, I'm totally following your strategy there, Alan. So that's how I've gotten my newer accounts. I just signed on with another property management company, and you're right about the pricing. They called me back on one of my invoices. I'm like, well, this is what it is. So, anyways, but the way I earned their business was, had my W-9. I also have a spreadsheet with my costs, what I charge to do tasks. Obviously, I can't put everything on there, but like basic things like changing out lights, changing out faucets, changing out a wax ring on a toilet, all those things that I am capable of doing, and I have a pretty good understanding of how long it takes me to do it, how much I need to charge to do it, and how much material is for that job. I'm more than happy to put that on a spreadsheet and I hand that to them. I also have my B2 remodeling license from the state of California, so a contractor's license. A copy of that gets put in there. And then I put a little cover page in there. Basically, I just take what Jason and his team have put on our website. I reformat it to fit nicely on a piece of paper and print that out with our logo on there. So they also get a sense of who we are personally and why we're doing business. And yeah, just going in and like, hey, this is who I am. Are you looking for anybody? Really, it's like finding a job.
Hmm.
A lot. I
Yeah.
know most of us have, like, there was a time where I had to like go find a job and walk into a building and be like, I'm looking for an application. Actually, is a manager available? I'd love to meet them. Right? Same thing. Right now, my application is my cost list, and the things I've listed are already, and then right away just trying to build a relationship with them. And I'm fully confident that there is enough work out there that it's okay if they don't say like, I want you to come tomorrow, right? Like if they're like, yeah, no, we're okay right now. It's like, great, this is for you. Hang on to that. I do like your idea, Alan, about, going back once a month and revisiting those, because there is going to be a day when you revisit that something needs to be addressed right away. And they're just going
Yeah.
to be like, hey, we called this guy. He says he's out or he's pushed out a week. Can you fix our toilet that keeps running? And it's like, yeah,
Right.
guy out here this afternoon, actually, or let's do it on the spot right now.
Mhm.
So, just be in the right place at the right time, that eventually if you show up enough, I think that's going to happen. But yeah, that's just my process. I'll be honest. I'm very much shoot by the hip, personality. Knowing my weaknesses, I am not a very good systems person.
Mhm.
So developing the systems, implementing the systems, yes, I can do that. Developing the systems, it's a heavy lift for me, and that's just my personality. I have a hard time sitting at the computer, really putting all these things down, writing it out, which is why I had an admin at my previous job, right? Like that was the complementary to my gift set. Um, so it lives in my head at this moment. And at some point I'm going to bring somebody on to help me start putting those things on paper and like drawing it out, whatever those systems may be. But I am one who's like once a week, I gotta hit one new business a week. I just have to. I gotta
Hmm.
maybe I go get those tacos. And or as soon as I'm done, it's like I strategically go to get tacos at a particular restaurant or taco shop that's across the street from a business I'd love to go visit, right? Being strategic in
Hmm.
that way and like, okay, I'll have my lunch. I'll feel good now. I just got some food in my belly, feeling confident. I know my numbers, and it's okay if they say no, right? I'm going to go over here and hit this one out of the park and doing that at least once a week. And yeah, those calls come and they'll come. Hey, I got your information. We're not looking for anybody right now, but I just want to tell you thank you. We'll keep you in mind. Great. That's all I want,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Put me in your file. That day will come. So
Yep.
I think there's something to be said about that, about just, I'm not afraid. I'm not scared that it's not going to work out.
Right.
Um, some may say I'm crazy. Some would say I'm full of faith. Some would just, I don't know. I think I'm just, I'm experiencing success, I think is what I'm saying. And
Hmm.
it's going to be okay because people keep calling. Um,
I love that.
yeah. And I just think it's a mindset of abundance, not a mindset of fear, right?
Hmm.
I know I've done the research. I'm kind of regurgitating what I've already shared. I've done the research. I know my numbers and I know the demand, and it's out there.
Hmm.
It's just about me now going out there and getting people to know who 5D is and calling us to get the job done.
I love that. I love that. One thing I wanted to highlight about the systems, right? We help people build systems all day. That's what we help with. But one thing that I would say about calling people and saying, "Hey, do you need anything?" They say, "Oh, not now." Okay, put me in your Rolodex or whatever, right? You always want to end with a follow up in mind. You always want to say, "Hey, do you mind if I follow up with you in a month?" Or
Mm.
do you mind if I follow up with you in 3 months? Right? Like same with when you give an estimate or you give an over the phone estimate, and the person always they don't want to tell you no over the phone, so they're like, "Oh, I need to talk with my wife," right?
Yeah.
Which really means that they're not going to hire you. They just don't want to tell you no. You say to them, "Okay, great. Would it be okay if I followed up with you in tomorrow, or would it be okay if I followed up with you in 2 days?" Because then it always gives you another reason to make that touch point again.
Right.
Because if you don't ask that, then it's kind of weird and awkward when you call them again. It's like, then you feel like you're kind of bugging them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's
So,
good.
So as far
Yeah.
as I know, we're kind of it's already been over an hour, I think. So you have another like 5 or 10 minutes here, Daniel.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So I got kind of a two-part question. We've already covered like you did your numbers, your pricing's about 120 an hour on like the back end that you're billing by project. If you don't mind describing like what does your estimate process look like? Do you show up to people's houses for every estimate? Do you try to do stuff via photos, text, email? And then a follow-up to that is like what are your key focus jobs, like your top 3 to 5 jobs, whether you just enjoy them or whether they're profitable?
Yeah, yeah. As far as estimating goes, definitely try to use pictures and leverage technology to the best of my ability. We have it at our fingertips. I would say 90% of those I work with, or potential clients have that capability of taking pictures, sending those pictures. Obviously, there's some, I just put in an overhead microwave for an elderly woman whose son is in Los Angeles. He found us on the web. There was no pictures coming, right? Because she's elderly and she's not really comfortable doing that. So that's okay. I've done enough overhead microwaves where I knew what I was getting into. Um, yeah, so most of my estimating is done that way. So digital photos. Now I do dabble in some larger scale projects where I'm actually putting an estimate together right now for demoing 2 restrooms and then retiling those restrooms. So those I definitely go out to the site, get some measurements. I need to get a sense of what the foundation is like. Is the house on a slant or whatever, right? So I think it's just all matters on the project. Caveat to that is I've learned a lot in these almost a year now, and I've gotten a better sense of how long it takes to do certain jobs. And I've also lost, I wouldn't say a lot of money, but I've lost a lot of money because I bid out this job to be done in a day and we took 2 days, right? But guess what? That's not going to happen again, right? So I think those are the bumps and bruises that those of us as entrepreneurs, it happens. But that's a huge learning experience for me that I know, one, I'm not going to go under because I spent 2 days on a project, not one. Um, but I've learned so much because of that, right? So I think that's worth mentioning is like, well, let me add to like I've got a net cast to catch the ocean right now, to be honest. And I think that's partially because I am in year one. I need to be financially successful. I'm providing for my family. So I need to take pretty much every job I feel capable of doing. And that's both commercial, property management, and residential. Um, I think it's also worth mentioning I'm fully transparent with my clients. Just this job I was looking at yesterday, they want these concrete steps going up into the house. They're on a slant. They want that redone. It's like, yeah, that's not something 5D's gonna be able to help you with. You need to get a concrete person out here for that, right? And
Mhm.
they're okay with that. Like, okay, great. We'll find somebody. If you have somebody, send them. Great, we'll do. Um, I think just a nugget there, right? Like it's okay to say, yeah, I'm not comfortable with doing that. If you have somebody you
Mhm.
refer them to, great. If not, no worries. And most clients like, okay, yeah, not a problem. So I think to your question, like, what are my most like go-to jobs? Um, yeah, I like electrical. That's just a personal thing. It just the way my brain works. I like messing with electrical. Don't like getting shocked, but I like electrical. Um, yeah, I think profitable on the commercial side is toilets. Changing a wax ring. Commercial toilets have, the flush valve for your urinals and your toilets. So very simple rebuild kit for a Sloan or a Zern. The apprentice I'm bringing on, he's like, "What in the how did I don't even know what you're gonna do right now." It's like, dude, once you see me do this, you're gonna be like, "What? That's it?" Like, right? It is if you're mechanically inclined, like super simple. Um, and those are, yeah, service call and then the fee to replace those plus the material. And so love getting those calls. Yeah, it's a little bit dirty, but it's clean water coming out of that pipe. Changing wax rings a little more stinky. And then right now I started another profitable job for us again on the commercial side is rewiring light fixtures for direct wire LED bulbs. So October of last year, I emailed all my commercial clients, said, "Hey, I'm no longer changing ballasts. I am doing direct wire installation. One, it's going to save you money in the long run. So actually, I told them transparently, it's going to cost me in the long run because I'm going to get fewer calls from you to change out a ballast or a bulb. Now you're just changing out a bulb if it ever goes bad. But this is the way to go." And all my clients were like, "Yeah, I like your approach. Let's do it." Ironically, I had no idea that you weren't going to be able to buy them in 2025 fluorescent tube.
Right, right.
Yeah, I had a client that needs some fluorescent tube light. Like, I need some bulbs. I just want the bulbs changed. It was a repeat client. I was like, all right, I'll take care of you. There's a few other things on the docket to do at the facility. And so I went to Home Depot and they're like, "Oh yeah, we as of first of the year, we don't carry them anymore." And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm glad I was ahead of that curve." Anyway, so those have been quite profitable. Again, it's electrical. It's not rocket science for those of us that are mechanically inclined, pretty straightforward. But it is a specialty, right? And those specialty electrical work is a specialty, and so you can charge a little bit more for those. So some of the things that have been a little more profitable. I heard Alan say in one of the podcasts, or maybe it was when we were in San Diego, they're serving Alan, but larger jobs can lead to more problems because you just never know,
Mhm.
more opportunity for things to go wrong or to break. Um, so that's definitely realistic. But I would say that, yeah, some of the remodeling jobs we've done have been very profitable. But I'm also learned me personally on that remodel job for 5 days is not good for Daniel.
Right.
That's just not my personality. Like I can do it and I'll rough it out, I'll get it done. Um, but my personality is like if I could do a 1 day job, great. That's about the extent of my desire to be in one facility. I definitely like to get to more jobs in a day if I can. One, maybe 2 days max. But as I mentioned, bringing on an apprentice right now, bringing him on as a 1099. He's not on payroll yet. He's a flooring expert. Like he has all the specialty flooring tools you could imagine, that came along hard times and wasn't finding work. And so our first job together a year ago was we had him refloor a 3,500 square foot home in a high-end gated community. And I mean, once I seen his portfolio, I was like, yeah, I'll definitely hire you to do this floor. And he's like, hey man, if you ever have other work, like other than flooring, let me know. It's like, well, what do you know how to do electrical? No. Do you know how to do plumbing? No. I know how to do some framing. It's like, well, we're not going to frame. I can't do that with my license anyways, and I'm not trying to. But slowly been bringing it under my wing. So direct wire bulbs or direct wire LEDs. Like I had one property, we had to do 18 of them, and I was like, hey, meet up at this place. I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to let you run with it. And he knocked it out, man. So, anyways, I'm kind of rambling on here a little bit. Um, yeah, I'll stop there.
I love it. I love it. One quote that comes to my mind is, the quote that's, you win some, you lose some, right? That's a common quote we all know. But like to add to that, if you're not willing to lose some, you're never going to win some, right? So it's like it almost takes a risk in order to find the benefit or the success down the road. So I think that's kind of what I took away from your story. So as we wrap up here, Daniel, what kind of parting advice would you have for prospective or new handyman business owners that might be listening here? What kind of advice would you have for them?
Oh man, my advice to them. I think we're all going into this for different reasons. I think, and that's okay. That's what's great about each one of us. We're all unique. But I think we all need to know, or at least I would encourage you dream and fantasize. Like literally sit back, take some time to dream and fantasize what is this? What do I want this to become? Right? Especially if you're like me and you're one. Yeah, I'm really wrestling with that almost on the daily because again, I have my net cast so broad. And yeah, there's times where I'm like, why did I take this job? Like I need to stick to it's like, okay, that's a learning something I need to cue into that, right? But knowing what I'm trying to get, right? I have a big picture idea. And for me, that's to serve people with my gifts, talents, and abilities. And so my encouragement is to first embrace that you're unique and that's a good thing. You have gifts, talents, and abilities, dreams and aspirations that somebody else needs, right? I once had a pastoral friend tell me, hey, the piece of the puzzle you have, I need, and the piece of the puzzle you need, I have, right? Now, what if we looked
Mm,
at everybody else like that, right? And I was like, that's
that's
good.
good.
Yeah,
That's
that's good.
good.
And that's us. We're handy, and that's our gift, right? That's our talent and that's our ability. And there's a plethora of people out there. There's an abundance of people out there that are looking for our piece to the puzzle. And so, yeah, just embrace that idea, um, and just dream big. And if you're a personality type that's like, I can't really think about next week, start writing about it. Maybe that could be a way of like, writing it out or talking to somebody who does think big, right? Building that corner again of folks that can help you think bigger than what next week has. I need folks in my corner to help me with what today is, right? Because I can tend to go to that big picture a lot. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and I think personal encouragement, I think, or an encouragement from a personal perspective is I jumped into this business one so we could buy more tacos. Um, but I know we're getting a little long here, so bear with me, folks. But all through my 20s, I come from a college educated family, and a college education was pushed and pressed on me. Um, excuse me, I don't think I'm a dumb guy. I'm pretty smart. But college just wasn't for me. I struggled. I do have a bachelor's degree, excuse me, now, but that was later in my 30s. I went back to school and got that. But I really struggled. And I remember thinking, man, I just want to go to work. I
Hmm.
literally would have that thought. I just want to go to work. And my thought at that time was, I just want to clock in, do some work, and clock out. Like, I'm okay with that. But my family was not, right? And I know there's other people out there that are living a similar experience or have lived a similar experience. Maybe it wasn't college, it was something else, but they just wanted to work, is my point. I'm getting into this because I want to help people. I want to provide a pathway for people to be able to get to work. And so again, based on the lack of pipeline for people going into the trades, I have a vision once we get established here as a business and sustainable. I have a vision to start some sort of trade program or trade school here in Fresno. And I want to
Love
bring,
it.
20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. Maybe you're retired from your accounting job and now you want to go fix fans. I don't know, right? But hey, come on in. And I don't know yet what it exactly looks like, but I'm thinking like 6 months of studious in the like class, like hands-on training, and then you get an apprenticeship with 5D. You ride along with somebody at a paid internship now, right? So, and that has an on-ramp to a job if you want to work with 5D Handyman, or if you want to go on your own. Hey, amen, man, go do it. Let's continue networking, right? But that's because I know there's folks that don't mind getting dirty. They want to help people and actually get joy out of doing work, right? And like literally at the end of the day, being like, yeah, I did that for them. And so 5D has a really big vision. We just got our LLC corporation established, and that's part of that vision, right? Is to get all that going underneath the LLC. So, anyways, I mean, sharing that as an encouragement to others, like if you just want to do you and just you and be successful, then go for it, man. Amen to that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I know there's somebody listening to this like, man, there's more to than just making money here.
Mm-hmm.
Can make a lot of money in this industry, but I don't believe, and this is just personally, I don't believe it's just for me, right? The gifts and talents and abilities I have are to be able to help others and to serve others. And that's what I want to do with our business and help people get to a point where they can be like on an interview here on a podcast and be like, yeah, man, we're doing 5S now or something, right? And it's like, yeah, we're going for it, and we're gonna give to the 5D training school so we can get more people in the trades, right? Anyways, just want to help people. That's, I think, at the end of the day, is I just want to encourage folks. Yeah, we get the opportunity to help people and eat a lot of tacos because they
Love it, man. Love it.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel, for the inspiration and the encouragement. I don't think anyone's ever offered that kind of dream and fantasize about, what does that look like for you? And it might not happen right away. So thank you for your just very eloquent, great explanation of encouragement there. And thank you again for your time, taking time out of your day, man, to sit with us and do this interview for our listeners. It's been a great time, man. So thank you for your time and spending with us.
yeah, thank you guys. Honored and privileged to be here with you all, and let's go get them.
Let's do
Let's
it.
eat some tacos.
All right, friends, that's a wrap of this episode of the Handyman Success Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on your journey in building a thriving handyman business. We would love to hear your thoughts on this episode, whether you learned something new or you're facing challenges that you're just not quite sure how to deal with. We would absolutely love to hear from you. We would love it if you would leave us a review, drop us a comment, or hit that like button telling us that you liked this episode. By doing this, you truly help and support us in creating more of these podcast episodes to help change the handyman industry to something amazing. And I want you to remember that you are not alone on this journey. Jason and I are here to help. If you need anything at all in regards to business or marketing, you can reach out to either Jason or I at handymansuccess.net. You can go over there right now and set up a free consultation call with either of us. We would absolutely love to talk with you. So thanks again for spending this time with us. And until next time, go out and be a blessing.